below deck. Hi, everyone. All right, Luna. You want to go uppies? Yeah? Come on. Come on, Luna. Let's go uppies. You want to say hi to everyone? Say hi to the live stream family, Luna. There you go. Oh, sorry. No, I got muted. How strange. Did I press something through? I blame you, Luna. She is the queen of causing disarray, so I blame Luna. It it was not just you, Sil. So, anyway, all of that I was saying was, feeling well last week. I was hoping I could make it, but I just could not fight through the exhaustion, and I feel like my voice was really raspy. I feel like I sounded like Macy Gray, and though she has a beautiful voice, that was not my voice, and it hurt to talk, and my teeth hurt. It was wild. Anyway, Luna and I, right, Luna? We're gonna give some readings today. We're gonna start off with our Lenormand, and then we are gonna use our tarot. And this is from the Boji collection. So this is the Boji blog Lenormand and the Boji Journal Tarot. So let me get this all shuffled. I'm still practicing my Lenormand with you guys. Right, Luna? Yeah, we're doing some practices. Yeah, that's right. All right, let me get this shuffled. So we just had our snow moon that passed us. We're a little outside of the moon phase, the moon phase of that full moon. But let's just see what kind of energies we have around us as a community in regards to the snow moon. I actually was lucky enough to get some snow on the snow moon. All right, one more. And you'll have to bear with me. Lenormand is new to me, so I'm going to pull up my handy dandy book and look through some stuff. All right. Ooh, interesting. So we have the lilies, the heart, and the cross. And you guys, if you did anything fun for the new moon, you will have to let me know. Luna. She was not very happy with me flipping through this book. But oh well, she will have to get over it. So the center of our reading is the heart. This card is about, and oh yeah, I almost forgot. If it weren't for this heart card here, happy Valentine's Day, happy Galentine's Day. Whatever it is that you do to celebrate, whether with your friends, loved ones, your significant others, happy today. So the center of your reading is the heart. This is the card of like connections in general. So whether that be something more romantic, dealing with love, or it could just be partnerships and friendships, and just overall happiness and let's see, what else does it say? Overall happiness, enjoyment, and pleasure. So we have next, I guess I'll go to the lilies. So the lilies, this is a card that let me see here. The lilies represent maturity and wisdom. So this can represent older people or more of the mature side of ourselves, our elders, something like that. So in that regard, the lilies and the heart is really like, what elders do you have around you that maybe you haven't shown some love to in a while and you want to reconnect with? It could be your parents, it could be someone else, maybe someone just older in your life that is a friend to you. And then on the other side here we have the cross. So the cross represents hardships, disappointing events, sometimes just grief overall. And I think this is really saying, y- rely on your elders to find that comfort and happiness in times of hardship. I think that's how I would say it. So if you have someone that has dealt with a situation before, it doesn't necessarily have to be like an actual elder. It could be someone who has gone through your situation before. Find someone who has had that experience. I think the lilies in this case might just represent more so experiences overall. And um being able to relate to that person in terms of them being able to help you through it, emotionally, being able to find that safe space and overcoming whatever hardships that you are currently dealing with. And what's funny is, this relates very much to me now that I think about it. I had a one-on-one with my mentor today at work, talking about some of the difficulties I've been dealing with over the past year. Even though the year was technically successful, it was also very stressful. So, yeah, relates to me at least. So, put in the comments how that relates to you and let me know. Alrighty, I'm gonna get this deck all shuffled. Let's see who we have up first. We have Marijana or Mariana. Let me know. Put your question in the chat. Hey Chelsea, welcome. Whew. I am loving this deck. I've been using it a lot offline as well, like just for my own personal uses. Alrighty, let's see, Marijana. I'm gonna pull 2 cards for this one. Will you find love soon? You have the 2 of Pentacles and the Hanged Man. So short answer, no. Long answer, it's gonna be a journey to get there. So the 2 of Pentacles, Pentacles in general is much slower moving energy. This is earth energy. It's very rooted, very solid, very stable in a good way. But sometimes when you're looking for a lot of movement, a lot of transitional kind of energy, it's not necessarily beneficial in that regard. So the 2 of Pentacles, the good thing about 2s is there's this element of duality. There is room for partnership there. But the 2 of Pentacles here is about finding balance. And I think if you are currently in a lot of flux, if a lot of things are changing around you, if you're in a lot of this transitional period, I think the 2 of Pentacles is really suggesting to you that you need to either slow down or you need to just find that room for some sort of balance. You need to balance out the chaotic things with the things that are also more rooted. So with the Hanged Man, they complement each other. So you'll have to remind me of the element of the Hanged Man. I feel like it's either air or water, but I can never remember. But the Hanged Man really asks you to consider, what do you need to sacrifice in order to find the things that you're looking for? In this case, if you want to find love, what are you not doing right now that you need to be doing? Or what are you doing right now that you need to give up? So there's this room, this suggestion, I would say, of having to sacrifice something to get what you want. There's also this need for like release, and being able to give up something or release something in a way that opens you up to seeing things a little more clearly. So the cool thing about the Hanged Man is everything that the hangman does feels very intentional. So they might be swinging upside down, but it feels very much like they purposely put themselves in that place in order to see things in a new light, to kind of get a new perspective of this situation. So, what I would ask you is like, so for your question, you're asking, will you find love soon? The soon part indicates to me no. But in order to get there, what is it you need to see things a little differently? Like, is it how you are managing your time and your resources around you, how where you're putting your energy? Maybe it's just not in the right places. So, what I would recommend based off of what I'm seeing is look back on like the last few months. If you've actively been in like the dating scene, look back in the last few months and see, well, what's gone well and what hasn't. And if it has the things that haven't gone well, why? So start to dig into that why and how you can change that for the future. Luke, the Hermit's Earth, but this was the Hangman. I know the Hermit's Earth because that's my card. Alrighty, Ari, you are up next. Go ahead, put your question in the chat. Let me move the lights a little bit. I feel like they're a little bright. Let's see, Ari. All right, next card. Here we go. So we have the Ace of Wands and the Sun. There's a lot of so both of these are fiery, imbue the energy of fire. There's a lot of movement. So where I was saying with the previous reading, it feels very much like there is no movement, there's no transaction or transitional energy there. This feels the opposite, where there's a lot of change, and maybe it's you trying to figure out what actually fits. What I feel like is with the Ace of Wands, the aces are about finding the spark of new inspiration and really starting along that path to kind of see where it goes and what that becomes and what it looks like. It's like if you have a spark of something where it's not really fully fledged and you just kind of explore it a little bit. And then the Sun card is just a very positive thing. It really indicates to me like, oh, you're going down this new path to explore new things. And the Sun card indicates to me like that's a really good thing. People should do that. I mean, I guess me throwing my own biases on top of what I'm seeing with the cards is people should explore new things. If you get a hint of that inspiration, that spark of something different, why not explore it a little bit? It may not necessarily lead you to what it is you originally set out for, but you might find some really cool things along the way. And I think that this reading is really indicative. Like, just do it. What do you so I'm gonna pull back a little bit. Really, is just like, what do you really have to lose? Like, you don't quite enjoy it, so you go back to what you've always been doing, which is just been working however it's been working for you, right? So there's really no risk in trying this. And I think that like the tarot is really just saying like, go for it a little bit. And there's this like really, fire is like, a lot of times people associate the element of fire with bringing life, because a lot of times when we think back like to the olden days, fire was the key to staying alive or not. So think of this as your spark of like finding a little bit of joy in life and really feeling alive and just making those changes that you need to do. I won't even say need to do. I would just say changes that everybody just every once in a while just feels the urge to try out. So just go for it. Ruby, yeah. So this is the Boji Journal Tarot. Still influenced me. And I love it. It's so cute. It's happy vibes. Absolutely love it. And then I did our community read with the Boji blog Lenormand, which is this guy here. So I'll just kind of flip a card for you. And it's not a colorful card, so let's try another one. And you can see it kind of has the same vibe, same characters and stuff like that. I've been practicing Lenormand, so now you guys have to put up with me practicing. I love chimichurri sauce. We had a whole debate on my Discord about food, and like Luke and I are the resident Tauruses, so we were just like, we have an unhealthy level of judgment around food, and it was just a really funny conversation because Robin from Robin's Reflections, she's also on YouTube. If you're not following her, go ahead and follow her. She literally called me out. She was like, you have very strong opinions about food. Spanish food is gross. Hispanic food is delicious. And I will get on my soapbox about that. My family and friends went to Madrid. We went to all over Spain, but went to Madrid, Barcelona, Seville, Ibiza, and Spanish food, huge letdown. I was disappointed. I hope I'm not insulting anyone, but as I said, as the resident Taurus, I have a lot of food opinions. Yeah, Hispanic food, A+. I could eat my weight in Hispanic food. Actually, one of my coworkers came back from South America. She said she had gone to Brazil and like Rio and a few of those places, and she said the food was hit or miss in some places, and I guess it's because they're like big cities, so you kind of have to know where to go. So I was really shocked to hear that. Chorizo can be spicy, but it doesn't have to be spicy. Chorizo has a lot of spices in it, but I would say it is not spicy. But I have a skewed version of spice. I don't have like a crazy... Did I miss Chelsea's? Oh, I did. I'm sorry. There are different chorizos that I've come to learn. Some chorizos are very close to like a pepperoni salami kind of vibe, especially the Spanish chorizos. But like the Hispanic chorizos can lean spicy, but they don't have to. They're just very aromatic. All right, Chelsea, let's see if you will win your unemployment case. I'm only going to pull 2 cards for that. Our first repeat of the day. Happy to see it. We have the 7 of Pentacles and the Sun. I vaguely recall we've had this reading before. It's kind of digging into the gray matter of my archives in my brain here. Because this reading feels familiar. So 7 of Pentacles tells... I'm going to actually start with the major arcana here. We have the Sun card. It's a very happy card, very successful card. This feels very much a yes, but there's this caveat here with the Seven of Pentacles. Seven of Pentacles tells me that if you have put in a lot of work, if you're currently putting in a lot of work and plan to continue putting in a lot of work, then yes, it could happen. The other caveat with the Seven of Pentacles, and I will pull another card here just to kind of get a little clearer idea of some more timing options here. Okay. So, this makes sense. You're going to have to put in a lot of work. You are going to have to put up a big fight in order to get to this yes. So if whatever phase you're in right now may not be indicative that it is the end of the journey, that might. And what I mean by that, I'm not a lawyer. I've never gone through this. So if I'm saying the wrong words, just kind of fill in the gaps, if that makes sense. And I'm also not giving legal advice, just letting you know. So what this feels like to me is like maybe this means that the original case is going to be drawn out a little bit, or it can mean that you have to come back and do some like appeals or something like that. I don't know if appeals is like the right thing in this kind of situation, but maybe that's whatever something similar is for that, basically, is what I'm getting at. But I will say, so I talked about the Sun previously. God damn it. I talked about the Sun being a very happy card. There's this air success. There's that fiery energy. There's this warmth and growth. We also have the Sun imagery in this card. So while you have to fight for it, it's almost like, all right, we have the Sun in the background. You are fighting for that journey to get to the Sun. So I guess what I would say is don't expect your journey to look any one which way, and just continue to fight for it regardless. I think that would be the takeaway. Thank you for subscribing. We just got 2 subscribes. So welcome to the Lunar family, Kosh and Sling. Alrighty. Lala, you're up next. Sorry, I don't feel like I greeted you today, so welcome. Yeah, Ari, if you don't like spicy, I think you would still like so if you don't like spicy, I hope you like aromatic food. Because chorizo is very aromatic. It can also be a little greasy, which is the downside to like loose chorizo. But you know, let's see. So the way I'm going to word this for you, I'm going to reword your question if you are okay with that. Lala, like the situation between you and A, and I'm going to see what I can glean out of that in terms of whether you should let them go or not. And it also involves you more too, because you get the chance to kind of hear the situation and make your own decisions. All right, let's see. Situation between A and Lala. Here we go. First card. Last card. Here we go. Our next repeat of the night, we have the Seven of Pentacles again, which is really interesting. So, I'm debating whether I want to. I'm going to start in the center of your reading, and that's because you have these 2 earth elements on the side. So I kind of want to start in the center. So everything here is very complementary in a way. Uh, Not to pry, but in the rare instances that I like to see what the shadow is of things going on, I will look at the bottom of the deck, which for you is, oh gosh, you can't see that, is the Ten of Swords. It tells me that things on the surface seem like maybe it might be a good idea to try to reconcile or reconnect or whatever that looks like. But the Ten of Swords really tells me that maybe it's fruitless. It is basically wasted effort. So let me describe what I see here, and this is sort of the antithesis, um sort of the antithesis of that, right? So the Ace of Cups is about, aces are taking that first step, starting a journey. Sometimes it can be restarting, but it's the beginning. So the cups is emotions, all of that emotional connections that you have. So emotionally starting over. I'm gonna work around in weird ways today. So this indicates to me a lot of hard work in that. So if you want to start over, it's going to take a lot of hard work. I think the shadow is really what's saying, like, is it worth it? Doesn't feel like it, but I will let you make that decision. The thing that I do in tarot, my style of reading is I will describe the situation to you, and it is up to, I don't like to prescribe situations. I want you to feel empowered to make the right decision for yourself. So that's what I'm going to do here. So there is room for starting a new journey here with the Ace of Cups. There's a lot of indication that in doing so, you are going to be faced with a lot of hard work in front of you. Sometimes it can be for the benefit of things, sometimes your detriment. On the other side here, this is what gives me real pause. The Hierophant, excuse me, the Hierophant kind of tells me that things might just go back to how things were. So the Hierophant is about tradition. There's sort of like the status quo, this fitting within the lines and that kind of thing. And if that didn't work before, no matter how much hard work you put in, you're still going to end up in this weird cycle. Tens are indicative of cycles. Traditionally, they're the end of a cycle, but it doesn't mean that you're not restarting again. And that's what I worry with the ace. So you have this ace and this 10 battling each other out. So I feel like if I'm outside of the tower, if I'm going to pull out advice for you and things that you might want to consider, is maybe it's worth the try to reconnect, but be cognizant of any of the similar patterns that you guys were in previously. And if so, then maybe it's a sign that you need to dip out. So if there's at any point that you feel like you are revisiting whatever Ten of Swords kind of energy you guys had previously, get out of there. So yeah, Lala, I feel like, so on the surface, what I'll say is there are a lot of reasons why people will be uncommunicative. It depends on like how they communicate through stress and stuff like that. But I think ultimately, I kind of described the situation for you. It's up to you to decide if that's something worth putting future energy into. So I don't want to give you a full like yes or no, you need to do this. I don't want to dictate or prescribe like this is the thing that you should do. I'd rather give you the situation, put the power in your hands, and let you deal with it. Thanks, so for letting me know. Alrighty, let me see. Oh, thank you, Lala. I appreciate it. Alrighty, let's go in. Lynn, go ahead and put your question in the chat. Lynn, are you LH? Did you like recently change your name? Oh, okay. Here, let me activate it then. Sometimes Streamlabs in the background will show me people's old like usernames or whatever. Let's see. Hold on. I don't know what your question is yet, but I think I'll pair your tarot with some oracle, depending on your question. Oops. Alrighty, so since you were lovely enough to send a tip my way, let me pull an oracle card or two. I'll pull two to see what the overall like energy is between you and Keisha. All right. I have not used this deck in a long time, and I'm really happy to see how the pairing is between this and the Boji Tarot. One more. Here we go. And then let's pull some tarot for you. Oh, and just as I'm doing this, I want to also acknowledge Whimsically and Dorella. I do see you guys in the queue, and I will get you guys next. So you have here your two oracle cards. You have the Unlimited Potential card and the Surrender card. For your tarot, you have the Seven of Swords, Ace of Wands, and Knight of Wands. So I think there's layers a bit to your question, um, based off of what I'm seeing in the cards, I think there's like the part of you that wants to know, um, did you upset the balance of your friendship? Um, and also, did you act inappropriately in some kind of way? So for the like the inappropriateness side of things, and if I'm reading too much into it, please let me know. But the inappropriate side of things, I would say no, for sure. A lot of what I'm seeing here, I think is more internalized. And if you upset the balance of the friendship, I would also say no. But for your direct question of maybe overwhelming them, maybe a little bit. But I don't think that is always a bad thing, I guess. And what let me just read what I see here. So you have the unlimited potential and you have the surrender, right? So there's this, I feel like there's this ask of the oracle in terms of your question to really just surrender to yourself. You're in the way, and what I mean by that is sometimes we can get in our own ways, and it ends up causing us to like spiral, and we create situations that really aren't there, scenarios that didn't really happen, or like we really like see things in a light that puts us in the negative, but the reality is we're our own worst enemy. We are our own, it's like, as RuPaul says, our inner saboteur. So I really think that's what's really happening here based off of these cards, because the unlimited potential side is really where I see like your friend wants to help, probably without prying too much into their own energy. And you're not doing anything outside of the realm of the boundaries of friendship. You haven't crossed any kind of lines. But what I will say too is with this Seven of Swords, you definitely feel like you have stolen her time and her energy, but this is internalizing. And I feel like with swords, when swords pops up, there's this little inkling that is telling us to communicate a little more. So just ask her if she feels how she's feeling, and ask her what her boundaries are. Just be open and say like, I know this is a lot and I feel like I'm taking advantage. Please tell me what your boundaries are in this scenario. And I think that will resolve a lot of stuff going in the future. So outside of this reading, I think this Seven of Swords is really saying, ask, right? Like, just ask her, where are you stealing too much of her energy? Where do you need to kind of cut things a bit? And I think in knowing that will also help find relief for you. So oh, 747. It's interesting. That is a Boeing plane number. So sorry, that was a weird weird sidebar, but I think then that maybe that's all for you, an indication that you're kind of thinking on the right path. This reading is probably the push you need to go ahead and do that. And what I will say is, with the Ace of Wands and the Knight of Wands, there needs to be that communication, because the air energy from the swords, the fire energy from the wands has room to be explosive and combustive, but given proper control, it can be very fueling in a very good way. So the aces is about being able to like kickstart their journey in the right kind of way, feeling confident in that kind of sense. And the knight, so in his worst days. The Knight of Wands tends to be a little impulsive. But if you have behind you the understanding of what your friend's limits are, I think it alleviates that kind of stuff. So instead, you're able to control and direct the energy of the Knight of Wands and be able to focus it towards the right things at the right time in a way that you don't overwhelm your friend. So, yeah, I would say the big takeaways here: communicate with your friend. It's harness that energy in the realm of that communication, um, and move forward from there. That's a good point, Ruby. Like, so tarot aside, if you were, you might be using your friend's time and energy. But if you treat them to dinner or treat them to something that they've been looking forward to, a gift, a movie, an outing, whatever that looks like for whatever your friend likes, maybe there is this reciprocity. Reciprocity. Is that a word? Is that part of a word? Anyway, there is that like give and take in the friendship. Also, I'm going to close the queue. Everybody in it is in it. You're good to go. Just don't want you guys to forget. Hey, SB. So you literally just missed me, but if you want to join, I'll reopen real quick. You can join in. You have like a minute. Yeah, so you can use my tip link here. Any of them will work, or one of the ones in the description. Feel free. So you are always on top of it. You're welcome, Lynn. Thanks for joining tonight. Oh, guys, don't forget to like this video. It helps with the algorithm. You have a great night. Good luck with everything. So, SB, I'll either pull more tarot cards or I'll pair tarot with oracle. It depends on the question, but yeah, they include more cards one way or another, which usually gives a little more detail, and I spend a little bit more time sitting with it. Okay, whimsically, you want a general reading. All right. I don't know why I don't see your comments. It's so strange. Maybe I like just missed it. Let me scroll up. Nope. Streamlabs is doing what Streamlabs does. Alrighty. Let's see, whimsically, your general reading. I don't know if I've ever told you guys, general readings with tarot is so, like, still somewhat challenging for me after all this time. Unless I use... dropped a card. Unless I use a specific spread. It's not that they're challenging, I guess. It's just that other methods are easier. Maybe that's a better way to put it. All right, last card. One more. Come on. Here we go. We're getting a lot of wands tonight, as we're getting a lot of fire element tonight in general. So wands, we've gotten the sun twice. We've gotten a lot of sun motifs in the cards, or symbolism rather. So we have the 7 of swords, we have the 4 of wands, and the 3 of wands. I feel like this general reading is about... Thanks for joining the QSB. Let me know if you do decide to tip. Let me know what platform, and I will get you next. So I feel like here this reading is about... feels a little bit of a warning about stealing your own happiness in the kind of sense. So I think I kind of mentioned previously about this concept of not leaning into your own confidence, or feeling almost like if you've ever heard the term imposter syndrome, where you feel like the accomplishments you've received or made, the goals you've reached, you don't necessarily deserve them. I see that a lot in this like combination of the 7 of swords with the 4 of wands. The 4 of wands is really like at the heart of things, really asking you to really celebrate just everything around you. It's not limited to just your accomplishments, but just where you are right now in general, the people that you have in your life that are supportive, stuff like that, all of the good things overall. But there's this little bit of a cloud hanging over you where you just are not able to fully embrace that joy. And I wonder where that comes from. So I always mention, like, my live streams for the most part are not the same as my private readings where we can sit and dive into things. This is where I would branch these off and dive into them. So what I would ask of you outside of this is to really sit and reflect on that. Past situations that you've dealt with that, like in hindsight, hindsight's 2020. Hindsight, was really happy and really really something that you should have been celebrating fully, but there's always this little like nagging cloud. And why is that? Where does it come from? So on the other side here, we have the 3 of wands. So this is where I'm asking you to... So I mentioned before, right, to really sit back and reflect. But then this is really like, look ahead. What things do you see coming down the pipeline for you that are actually something you should be celebrating or looking forward to, that because you are so in your own head, or maybe a little bit in your own way, that you don't give yourself the room to enjoy them? How can you make room to do that? Where can you give up this concept of the imposter, where you don't deserve it, that kind of thing? So whimsically, I feel like this is a little bit of a deep situation here that really invites you to explore a little deeper and sit with it a bit. So what I recommend is, if you journal, maybe this is a good journaling prompt, or you can just come back to this live stream later, kind of note the time a bit and re-listen to it and see if it invokes anything in you. And you can always come back next week or whenever I'm live again, and we can dive a little deeper, stuff like that. But I think this is a really fun prompt. I think that sometimes when we're at a crossroads, or we've gotten to a certain point in life, it's always good to really reflect on that and see, historically, where have we not allowed ourselves to enjoy the things that we have gotten to. Alrighty, SB. Let me scroll back up. Okay, Cash App. So SB, go ahead, put your question in the chat. Really? So when you Ruby, this is a really interesting topic. So when you do your general readings with tarot, do you start with like a specific spread, or do you just kind of go with the flow? Whimsically, I'm reading back in the chat a little bit. Yeah, and I don't think there's really any blame in it whimsically. We kind of all go through that, and I totally understand from the neurodivergence perspective that sometimes that can be a little harder. So, sorry, had to read back a little bit. Thank you, Sil. I totally forgot to close the queue. So SB, I don't do like third party things, but I can see what the energy is between you guys, or the situation between you guys. You know, whatever minutia wording you would like to use in that case. And I will kind of like peek into it, but I don't know. I feel like what someone feels is like reading their diary, and it feels a little. I have decided I don't like to do that. Alrighty. I knew you were pacing, Luna. You want to go a piece again? Whoops. Close my Q tab here. Okay, awesome. So we'll do that. I'm going to highlight your post just so I have something to like focus on. And so I remember names because I'm so bad with names. All right. So let's see. Pull some Oracle first. Move these things out of the way. Oh gosh. Dropping stuff. So I know it's like the end of my stream. It's when I start dropping too many things. Okay. So let's see how you guys are right now, the energy between you guys. So you sent a good amount. So I'm gonna spend some time with you, SB, and we can dive into a little bit more in regards to this. I really, really like this deck. I feel like it really just. Let me move my mic a bit. So you have the endings card, and then you have the disruption card. Let's see what the tarot has to say, and we'll dive into it here, right? The situation between you and Tinu. Whoops. I wish I could watch YouTube at work, but alas, my job blocks it. So, last card here. One more card. Let's start with 3 cards and we'll dive a little deeper. Here we go. I was almost curious if you're going to get all major arcana here. So, I told you that here we have endings and disruption here, and then we have the World, Judgment, and the 8 of Cups. Are you guys on a break right now? Between the 8 of Cups, Judgment, and the Oracle cards here, are you guys talking on a break or not talking or on a break or something like that? Because let me just talk about what I see here. I feel like these are a little fairly obvious, right? In that regard. The World card feels reversed. I should switch that. The World card feels very much like there is a missed achievement, which generally means in terms of relationships rather, that there is so what I will say, SB, in terms of a second question is you can dive a little deeper into what I'm already looking at, if that makes sense. So don't ask something completely different than what I'm already reading in, but you can definitely ask something complementary or continuous to what we're talking about. I flipped this. The world feels incomplete in regard to everything that I'm seeing here. This is your Earth here. There is a bit of instability that I'm unsure if you guys have the ability to regain, and I wonder with this 8 of Cups if it's worth it. So what I'll say, SB, is I'll give it some time as I'm talking. I'll look at the chat. If you throw in something based off of what I'm saying, I know there's a little bit of delay. I can pull a few cards to see. So that being said, I think that between the World card, which is like feeling incomplete, feeling like there is no closure, there's no, it very much feels a combination of things have ended, but the door is open, and that is the no closure side of the world. So you guys are not really connecting in the way that you need to connect, and I feel like with the Judgment card in the middle, there is going to be a point where you start to see how the situation is for you. The Judgment card, what's funny is the Judgment card is the card before the World card in the order of the major arcana, and it's really indicative of you starting to understand the path that you're on and starting to see things in a new light, and things are starting to make a lot more sense. And I don't know that necessarily you've gotten all the way there yet, but you're starting to see how things maybe didn't work in the past and how they can maybe perhaps work better in the future. And in saying that, this also feels reversed. Sometimes I have to like sit with stuff and like think it through, which the live streams don't always necessarily cater to. But the the Eight of Cups traditionally is about feeling like you need to just walk away. I don't think we're at that phase. I think right now you're in the disconnect phase, right? And the tarot is saying that things are incomplete. There's no closure in this, and you need to really find that key that finds a new light for you in this path. And it's also warning you that you shouldn't necessarily walk away right now, but there is still that fear emotionally. You still feel that like fear about how things are going to go. So what I'm going to do is pull cards for this judgment here, because I think that we need to dive deeper into what is it that will become clear to you that you're not seeing right now. What is it that is going to start to make sense in this journey? And one of my cards flipped here. Did not mean for that. So I just kind of want to see what that looks like. I'll pull one more. So 2 cards to kind of complement the judgment card. This has been popping up all night. It's very interesting to see the parallels and connections between us all. I really love that part of doing the live streams. So we have the 9 of Wands and then the 7 of Swords. I like that Swords popped up. People can be a little scared by swords, but I like that the swords popped up because that is always the indicator to me that there needs to be room for communication. The 7 of Swords specifically feels like you were dancing around that communication. You guys are not talking. And if you are talking, you're talking in ways that don't necessarily benefit you. And what I mean by that is maybe you're texting when you need to be calling each other, or maybe you're calling each other when you need to be in person. The method of communication either isn't working or you guys are not communicating at all. And the 9 of Wands really tells me that you and Tinu are both going to have to be willing to be resilient in this situation. Sorry, I'm reading the chat for a second. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I'm reading the chat. But I think that your willingness to walk away is really indicative of the 8 of Cups. But I will say that what I'm seeing in the tarot is maybe give it some time. I don't mean that you shouldn't walk away. I just mean that see, this is where tarot and I are counter to each other. Sometimes I always tell people, like, I try to be unbiased in these, and this is a very good point where the tarot is indicating something that I don't technically believe in. This is very much feels like you need to communicate and talk, and if things are not going to work out, then get the closure that you need to move on. Whereas I personally am like, closure's a scam. But so I think, SB, that I wouldn't say just like go ahead and dip out necessarily, but just understand that there is a time and place to do so, but there is room for that communication in the meantime. One of the things that I will say is the 8 of Cups is your only Cups card here. So emotionally, the connection between you and Timu is very, very thin. I think on both sides. And there's too much of that, like, needing to be resilient without the emotional foundation that would keep you guys together. So I'd keep that in mind as you go forward. But again, I don't know if you've heard some of the previous readings that I was giving today. I don't like to prescribe what people do or dictate what people do. I try to describe the situation and give you guys the power to make your own decisions. So I would say, looking at this, if closure is something that you really, really need or that you tend to need, perhaps this is the situation that you want to do it. And that is going to be your final decision on where things go between you and Timu going forward. Mm, yeah. That like getting that thing off your chest, otherwise it kind of like weighs you down. Yeah, it makes total sense. I mean, like I said, and it is okay to be sad about it. Um it's natural, I guess. Is what I would say. Um before I put this up, do you have any other before I put this up, do you have any other questions? Um I like that. I like that you say that you have something to say before you walk away. Cuz I'm like you. I'm like I usually I closure is for suckers. Like I'm done when I'm done. I don't need to hear or say anything else. But sometimes the cards don't agree with me. Let's see. I'll do some 2 more cards for that and see if there's any reconciliation in the future. All right. So we have the 4 of Cups and the Empress. I will describe this as sort of. So, this feels the 4 of Cups and the Empress feels very much more like the you side of things and what you're going to get out of this journey than necessarily what Tinu also gets out of it. So there might be room for reconciliation, but I think really what it boils down to is feeling like you have feeling satisfied in how things have turned out. The Empress is really in tune with herself. She is who I like to describe as the pinnacle of like self-nurturing, or nurturing in general, but especially in this case, self-nurturing and focusing on oneself and growing oneself. And the 4 of Cups is very much being like just apathetic about the stuff that's being presented to you. So what that means to me is, as the Empress, you're starting to recognize, or in the future, maybe not right now, but you're starting to recognize when people are presenting things to you that just don't benefit you. You kind of just know it's BS. It just kind of rolls off your back, and you're not accepting it anymore. You're not accepting that cup that does not fulfill you. And I think it doesn't quite answer your question of reconciliation. I feel like it answers a slightly different question, in that you ultimately find what you need at the end of this journey. And I feel like all of that has to do with yourself and how you feel, and it ultimately doesn't have to do with how Tinu feels. We've come full circle in this question. I'm almost done, Luna. The queen of my live stream, aka Luna, is upset that I am 20 minutes over my normal time frame. Right, Ruby? I don't know. Maybe I need to go to therapy about that, but I feel like the concept of closure is just a way for people to open up old wounds. But Tarot wise, I always go with what I see in the cards, whether it matches with what I feel or tend to do within my own life. So I try to be as unbiased as I can. Oh yeah, cats and dogs literally, like my boy cat, 30 minutes before feeding time, he's hounding me. He's like, "Hey, are you awake? Are you aware that I'm going to be fed in 30 minutes? Are you even downstairs?" Yeah. Thank you so much for the generous tip, SB. I hope that fulfilled your questions. So I appreciate it. Thank you. And good luck with everything. I hope you find the last word that you need. We're not going to use the C word, aka closure. I feel like as a chat, we've agreed. So, Dorella, I can see what the time. I can see what's going on between you guys. If there is any communication happening between you guys, in the near future, if you're cool with that. Thank you for laughing at my nonsense, SB. Oops, I forgot to click you, Dorella. So, Dorella, you're up, and then What a Lovely Day is going to be my last reading. So I'm gonna go ahead and see what the energy is between you guys and see if I will be, or if there's any communication between you and Elle. We have the World again. I swear I'm like shuffling. You guys can hear it. It's crazy. I thought that was the Seven of Pentacles when I first pulled it. I was like, come on. We have the World card, Six of Pentacles, and the Chariot. Sorry, I'm just kind of sitting with this for a second. The reason I had to sit with this for a bit is because sometimes I have to remind myself that, like, these are only 3-card readings. There leaves room for things to be left out, but I take what I see for you guys. So what that means is I don't necessarily see communication or like any sort of reaching out between you guys, but I do see this element of fulfillment happening because of the World card and the Six of Pentacles. So there is this element of like balance, and I already said fulfillment. The World kind of is indicative of harmony, but so you said he's a Cancer. I think the Chariot is water, so maybe it feels very much like maybe. And I really hate to give these like maybe answers. It's not satisfying to me, and I'm sure it's not satisfying to you either. But the world card feels like you could get there, you could maybe have communication, but it's very dependent on how things happen. So I always caveat with people when I'm giving, so when people ask questions that are very much predictive future kind of readings like this is, it depends. Sometimes it depends more than it doesn't. And in this case, I think it depends about how much energy you guys are sharing across from each other. I'll expand upon that. What I mean is, do you guys share space in any kind of way? Do you share friends? Do you work together? Do you tend to be at the same social events together? Stuff like that. The Six of Pentacles is indicative of sharing that energy. If that's not happening, that I do not see there to be a reason for there to be any communication between you guys. This could be your hint to maybe like if you guys are in the same social circles, spend time together in that way, but not in a weird, creepy way. Just spend time with your friends who also happen to be Elle's friends. If you guys happen to be in the same social clubs, spend time at that club that happens to be Elle's club. Stuff like that. Sorry. I feel like I have to be very delicate in the sense, like, please do not stalk people. But the Six of Pentacles tells me that there needs to be some sort of sharing of energy. There needs to be some sort of connection and foundation that is set between you guys. Otherwise, there doesn't seem to be room for communication. That being said, there is a little bit of warning here with the Chariot that I see. The Chariot can be really great. There's a lot of movement with the Chariot. There's sometimes this air of success, but in the warning side of things is, are you successfully connecting with someone at your detriment? And what that looks like is maybe somebody realizes or is recognizing you, but they are not seeing you in a good light. So there's that element of warning there. What I would say, so when I have these weird nebulous readings for people, it kind of indicates to me that there's a lot of flux happening around you. If you take time to deliberately build friendships, not be creepy, and build those relationships around you, and it doesn't have to be with just Elle, but with your own folks, and it just becomes very natural, I would recommend doing that and then revisiting this question. I will feel like other readers might give you exactly what you want to hear. I'm not of that persuasion, so yeah, I would just say that give it a little time and then revisit is what I would ask. Sorry, I try to find ways to like facilitate people during my live streams, but I also don't want to give people false hope or, lead them astray in that regard. All right. What a lovely day. You were up next. I love that username. Yeah, I think I saw it. Let me scroll back up. Thank you, Ruby. I enjoy a little conversation while I'm giving readings. Oh, okay. So you said each card is part of a sentence, almost like subject, verb, and so forth. Oh, I like that. So you kind of do it a little bit, not 100%, but similar to how Lenormand is structured, where it's kind of like this card influences that card influences the next card, and so forth. I kind of like that. I guess because of the way that I read, and I'll kind of give an example. I'll just pull random cards here. Depending on the question, sometimes I will read with like the center of the card being the heart of the reading, and then how these influences that. Other times I will read consecutively, and then other times it's just like I'm just drawn to read haphazardly based off of the cards in the question. I can't really put a finger on that one. So general readings really is just like, oh, I'm literally just reading and starting from scratch. That's why I like using my bones, which actually, since we were waiting for questions, look, I have my new dice that I'm going to put in my bone set. Let me see. Hey Corey, my queue is actually closed for the night. I'm so sorry, but I will be back next week. But I am showing off my dice and my bones here. So I have these. They're very heavy. They don't match with the vibe and feel of my set, which is actually very light. I've used them because they've worked, but my goal is to transition them out. And in true fashion of my Discord buddies, they influenced me to get this set instead. They're a little harder to read just off the bat. You guys can't see these, but let's see. Whoop. I have my D4, and then I have, goodness gracious, I have these here. Have my 8, and then this is my 12. So those are gonna go into my set. I will send a photo in the Discord, but let me bring them a little closer. You can kind of see. They're really hard to see, but they have like a little maybe this will be easier to see. You can kind of see there's that little skull in the center there. So it fits with my bones in that aspect. I'm actually going to put these guys off to the side because I have the other extra dice in my little bag here. And I'll probably use these with Dawn Michelle's tarot thing. I'm sorry, divination dice thing, and see how they work. I know I got them. They kept getting delayed. I actually didn't get them that long ago, and I was like, oh, I might as well just show them off on the live stream, because my live stream you guys see things before everybody else. So sometimes my Discord does, but you know. I'm very excited. Oh man, I missed the full moon. I should have charged them under the full moon. Oh, maybe I'll charge them under the new moon. When's the new moon? Let's see. I'm gonna check my app here. Okay, the new moon's in 2 weeks. I'm gonna do that. Did I miss their question, Luke? No, I don't think I missed their question. I'm checking on the YouTube chat right now. Yep. It's okay. Alrighty. So, guys, thank you so much for joining tonight. Make sure you join me over on Discord. I appreciate you guys joining me, and thank you for understanding about being sick last week and spending my Friday with me. So happy Valentine's Day, happy Galentine's Day, and I will see you guys on the flip side.